Not yet at least, pero kung gusto nyo kayo padala ng mga ganitong burloloy, pwede lang rin. Alright, so, we have a very hot third topic, the last topic for today. And I'm just gonna go straight into it. We've seen TNC, I think for the first time, they've had this coach for a while, but for the first time, we've finally seen who the TNC coach is. And it's no one else but TNC alumni, Eyyou, as we've seen with the team or in the booth with them at MDL Changsha. But with TNC losing in the knockout bracket to LGD, the question is Eyyou an effective coach for TNC? What do you think, Ren?
I think right now it's very hard to say. I
Right.
think we have very limited information as to conclude if he's an effective coach for TNC. For one, they've been playing at least they've been playing similarly, I guess. They're not necessarily worse than they were before, but they weren't necessarily better neither. I think they're still very strong in best of ones.
Right. There's still a knockout.
They're still the king of best of ones.
King of best of ones. Yeah.
But they're also somewhat struggling. They're still struggling with their best of threes, especially against teams. Well, to be fair, naman, LGD defeated them
In 2-1. 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1.
They were the only team to give LGD a loss.
And LGD eventually won the
Yes.
event. So this is not saying that he's not effective, but with for me, kung ang basihan ko lang is MDL.
Sample size mo.
I think
konti ba?
it's pretty much the same pa rin sila right now. As far as effectivity though, I've known Eyyou. I've seen him interact with his teammates. I'm just not sure if he's assertive enough to be a coach. Especially ngayon, if you follow the Chinese scene, every team except newbie, yung coach niya nag-adapt for them. I'm not sure if he's that assertive for one. And pangalawa, I'm not sure if his team will give him the total liberty, and
I think doon ako
authority to
manggagaling
doing
eh.
that.
Doon ako manggagaling eh. And I
Okay.
mean, again, I've also met si Nico for a long time, Nico Barcelona, Eyyou. And when I'm looking at TNC's performance at MDL Changsha, I can see kung saan parang merong mga upgrades, right? I can see, for example, they showed some of their range, something that people were criticizing them of before, when they took down LGD in 72 minutes or 71 minutes. So an ultra late game scenario, they were able to come back despite trailing for most of the game. They were able to bring it back. Right? That's a demonstration of range. In the group stages, TNC also took a game out of LGD despite being outdrafted. And here, this is it. This is like 63 minutes into the fight.
Yeah.
LGD take a fight in the Radiant side jungle. But for somehow, Raven on that carry Omni Knight manages to turn things around. And they give LGD hell. They give LGD
They do
hell.
love these kinds of fights and chaotic fights. They really excel at this. So
That's true. Pero yun nga, doon mo makikita na there is some range, and I think it's only reasonable to not really attribute all of it to Eyyou's, but he also has something to do with that, right? Just having someone to take off that mental load from you and get you to focus onto the game is already a big help. But I don't know if I'm going to say that he's an effective coach just yet. That's true. Yung sinabi mo, okay, I'll bibigay ko sa'yo yun. There's a small sample size.
there's one more reason. Aside from sample size, there's not a lot of comparison.
Exactly. There's not a lot to compare for, right?
We can all agree that this is just natural progression. They're just
Right.
improving as the tournament goes on. They
That's
get more
true.
Experience.
And I think for me, it's more that knowing Eyyou and knowing what a coach should be, I would say that Eyyou is a good analyst. I am 100% willing to say that Eyyou is a good analyst, right? He was a recently active pro player. He just recently turned his hand into support staff for a team, right? The same thing for Fly Solo, who is now coaching Clutch Gamers / Admiral, Clutch Gamers X Admiral. So I would say that he's more of an analyst, because what are you looking for in terms of an effective coach? When you're talking about having an effective coach, it's not just someone telling the team what to do. It's not just telling the team how to draft. It's someone that's also getting into the mind of the team, asserting, katulad ng sinabi mo, asserting something. When your team breaks down in morale, it's the job of the coach and the team captain to bring you back together. In the off season, it's the job of, or at least when you're outside of the tournaments, it's the job of the coach to make sure that your mental space is not out of focus. Yung practices nyo, yung scrims nyo are productive. I don't know if Eyyou is that figure for this team yet. So I don't know if he's an effective coach. Is he an effective drafter? I don't know either. Like katulad nung sabi mo, for all of the Chinese teams with coaches, it's the coaches that are drafting. Because they're taking that mental load off of the players. Isipin mo na lang if player ka and kailangan mo pang mag-draft. Kailangan mo pang isipin, what is this team strong with? What is the counter to this strategy? What strategy does this team have access to? If you have to think about that as well, someone who is equally skilled than you are, pero yung mental energy nila is reserved for playing, hindi siya nakunan because kailangan nila mag-isip nung draft pa lang, already has an advantage.
Yeah, and the coach is something that even Mineski, which was our topic earlier, this is something that they have attributed their recent success to. Because 71 is now the one drafting instead of them doing a draft.
Ayun nga eh. So, effectivity as a coach, hindi ko masasabi. Effectivity as an analyst, you can see it. There are some changes to their gameplay. Right? They were able to pull out the carry Omni Knight. They were able to defeat LGD in the group stages game 1 despite not having a draft win. Right? They were up against a Slark that they couldn't catch. Pero what did they do? They had the game plan to just run down mid as 5 and 5-man the Slark lineup. So that tells me na merong impact yung ability ni Eyyou bilang former player to sort of tell them na, alam mo, ito yung tingin kong pwedeng kailangan yung gawin. Alam mo, ito yung pwede natin gawin dito. Because he's an ex-player. He's good at analyzing games. He's good at identifying what wins games. But as a coach, that's not all that you do. Right? You should take off that drafting for your team. You should get them to think about their morale. You should discipline them in the off-season, in between games. I don't know if Eyyou has the experience or the personality to be an effective coach yet. I'm never going to say that Eyyou might not conclusively. Exactly. Yeah. I will never say that. Why? He's learned from Sunbi, TI6. Kasama niya si Sunbi for TNC when they knocked out OG. Kasama niya si Demon, who is one of the great captains, but who is also very good at motivating his team.
Yeah.
He's played with legends like Mushi. He's served under coaches like Kipspol. Right? So kaya niya siguro yun. I don't know if he's that yet. So effective coach, I don't want to say that right yet. Good analyst, yes, 100%.
Do you think this issue is born with the fact that for a lot of teams there's a fine line between coach and analyst? Na some teams do not have the luxury to get both.
Right.
Usually you start with one, which serves as two. Do you think this is a case of that?
I think it's a case of that. It's also a case of, because let's just be real here, right? These questions come from the spectators, the audiences, the fans, just looking at the result and being results oriented.
Yes.
Talo yung TNC, it's someone's fault, right? And so it's easy to point to a foreign, parang foreign edition. Si Eyyou yung bago dun, tatalo sila, must be his fault, right? I don't think so. So that's why, diba? Natalo sila, and so his effectiveness is called into question. But I'm not going to give him a free pass. I'm not going to give TNC a free pass. There were some glaring holes in their play, right? They still have a problem adjusting mid-series. They still have, very glaring draft weaknesses, for example.
That's one of their biggest problems throughout the years.
Diba? I think for this tournament, MDL Changsha, the strategy, it seems, for the teams that nakalaban nila was to ban out for Tims or Sam H.
Yeah, the two of them.
Right, silang dalawa. And once that was the play, medyo nahihirapan. And it makes sense because TNC is a team that thrives on snowballing and tempo. So having your two playmakers out, effectively draft pa lang, mahirap para sa kanila.
Mhm.
That's something a coach would be able to fix. Not necessarily an analyst. An analyst can tell you na, yes, okay, yeah, gawin natin to. But a coach will enforce that. That's the difference, I think.
Plus, you can play around that. Like the same way, let's say Alliance, who was having every band go to Bulldog, they still found ways to win.
Mm-mm.
I think it's something that that can be improved with them. Knowing that there's people being targeted in their team, I think a really effective coach can really help them in that regard.
Right. So, yeah, I'm gonna ask you definitively. Do you think he's an effective coach?
I'm gonna go with the same answer I had before.
Yeah.
I cannot really tell.
You
right
can't
now.
tell right now.
With not enough sample size, because there's not really a comparison. Again, someone could just easily say that TNC is doing this because they're progressing. They've
Right.
been competing in events. They've been facing off against
Strong
Fnatic and
competition,
Mineski, and
yeah.
then going to Lance as well. So with those things in consideration, I don't think I can tell if it's effective.
I'm going to stick to my guns. I think he is a great addition to the team.
Oh, definitely. I think
He's a great addition to the team. I think he has a wonderful Dota mind. I mean, having observed them since the I6, have the statements from his former teammates, Fnatic, his Dota mind is good. I think he still has a long way to go before he
Mhm.
can become that masasabi mo talaga na ang galing niya na coach.
Yeah,
And who knows if he still wants to continue that after
the
the
effective
season.
man o hindi, I do believe that having an extra person with insight there is a lot of it.
Yes.
I think since the addition this season of a coach during the drafting stage, teams should have someone there to help them out, to assist them.
That's true. I
And
think it's a big thing to have that mental
it's a real
energy.
advantage.
Just have that mental energy offloaded to someone else so that the players can focus on playing, on executing the strategies that they've prepared,
Mhm.
on beating the one in front of them instead of, trying to first flush out yung mga pinag-iisipan nila, that all of those distractions that sort of really just vanish once you start the game of Dota. So yep, final thoughts so far. Eyyou being an effective coach for TNC. They still have one event. It's going
Which
to be the
is-
Super Major. They're home.
Yeah.
I think they're headed home ngayon. I don't know if they've already arrived. Final thoughts. TNC and Eyyou.
Well, again, they have like 3 more weeks to prepare for the Super Major. The results will speak a lot. It's very important as well. If they can, I think the only chance to advance to TI is to win the Super Major, right?
Right.
I don't think they can qualify by coming second place. It's gonna be hard again to gauge him based on that performance, because again, these are the best teams in the world. They're going to be there.
That's true. That's true. It is the Super Major. It is the final
I
exam.
think it's a long-term thing, not necessarily long-term, but until TI 8 at least. Having him there is a help. So we'll start with that. If he can be an effective coach, I think that's something that we should be able to see very soon.
I think so too. Ako, my final thoughts on Eyyou being, the coach for TNC is, I think he should take this opportunity from now until the Super Major. And in all honesty, there's more than a big chance that they will have to go through the qualifiers for SEA, right? I mean, we would, if you're a fan of TNC, you would want them to win the Super Major, but let's be honest, there's a lot of really good
It's
teams.
very, very
It's
highly
very hard, right?
Yeah.
It's very highly unlikely. So they would have to go through the qualifiers, which that they can win.
and which also you also know that they can lose.
Well, that's also true. Pero ibig
Yeah.
ko sabihin lang, I think they should take this time. I think if I were Eyyou, to embrace his role as coach. Be more assertive, cover the weaknesses of your team.
Mhm.
Kailangan niyang ipasan yung mga load na yon. The drafting load, ipasan na niya. The bad habits need to be removed in practice, and he should be the one enforcing that together with I don't know wala yung sound. Together with his manager. He should be the one making sure that nawawala yon in time for the qualifiers. And if they make it through, again, this is a long-term thing for him. Will he stay as a coach? Will he embrace this role? I don't know. Because again, right after the DPC ends, he can go back to becoming an active player. But this is the role that he has right now.
Short fluff question regarding AU.
Jay, go ahead.
First saw him.
Yeah. He has this.
I saw him because he was playing techies
Oh, yeah. Oh,
in
you hate to see it.
in GST.
Yeah.
He was playing as a stand-in for Pacific. I think at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time he was playing for Minds, but then he had very very great techies. You
Yes.
know, do you think he'll be the one to introduce techies to the team? And you know what? You know what players are saying?
I would hate it.
Players, pro players are saying that they're
Ah.
just waiting for a team that's gonna show and expose how broken techies is.
That's true.
So
Also,
I
a team
think,
that has no self-respect to play techies.
I think it's only a matter of time. Yapsor tried.
Yep, so tried.
He
He
failed.
failed horribly.
I saw he's playing a lot of techies.
He is.
I don't know. Maybe you think this is something you can introduce to TNC.
I've met Nico, I've met Eyyou, and I've talked to Eyyou a lot about Dota. I don't think he's the kind to create a strategy around a hero that fundamentally changes the way Dota is played.
Well, he did before. They were playing a techie score while he was a support. It was like AOE
Yeah,
level even
farm,
before AOE
farm
came.
Aghanims first, get
Yeah, but
more items.
let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. But yeah,
Nakapagod ako, isipin lang.
again, it's just I think players are saying it's inevitable. It's gonna
It is,
come.
it is.
It's
It's
so
probably going to
broken.
come.
It's gonna come.
I
Uh,
hope I can see it sa Super Major pa lang. Pero
para mawala na siya. after
mawala
that.
na siya after that, diba? Pero
Okay.
I don't want to see it at TI,
Ah.
pero who knows? Who knows?
TI Aegis TI run was on the back of techies.
That is true.
By the way.
That is true. Well, again, that's it for today's The Duel between me and Ren. Hopefully, you guys learn a little bit more, or if you have any more opinions, lagay nyo lang dyan. You can also comment on the post-matchup threads on Lupon na Wombo if you want to discuss these things. Again, if you're not a part of the Lupon yet, pwede kayo punta sa Facebook. Search it. It's facebook.com/Lupon ng WXC, and you can join and you can be a part of the conversation. We want to thank everyone who supported us here sa WXC Plus. Dahil sa inyo, nagagawa namin to. So, if you want to support us even more, consider subscribing. Your subscriptions go into creating more shows, and of course, yung mga giveaways namin. For example, we have a giveaway for the Battle Pass every
Wow.
time merong matinong usapan.
Really?
This week, yes. We're giving out level 1s for matinong usapan, and on Friday sa Rosh Pit, we're giving out one level 7.
Wow.
Right. At the
Okay.
end of the show sa Friday. You don't need one. You have 1-3 level, 1.3k levels.
Well, I
You
need
don't.
I need to get the shitty Roshan.
That's
so
that's
There's
true.
still a long
That's
way to
true.
go.
Nakuha mo na yung Roshan mo na isa.
I think it's on the way. It's in
Yung bago, yung
it's in Hong Kong.
yung
right now.
Ayos.
No, the old one.
The old one.
They're still making the new one.
Oh no.
They're starting from scratch.
Well, ayan. So yeah, again, if you want to be part of the Battle Pass giveaway, watch Matinong Usapan all week this week and Rosh Pit this Friday. So Ren, saan nila pwede hanapin?
You can find me on Facebook at Darren VTugPH. Twitter and Darren VTug. I post there maybe once a year.
And as you can tell, Celtics fan.
Yeah,
So
Celtics.
kapag talo ang Celtics, pwede nyo siyang tanungin kung ano yung score. Lalo na kung wala kayong
Guys,
internet.
don't do that, please.
Pwede
I think
nyo
I've
gawin
had
yan.
yesterday I have 30 PMs asking me the
I
score.
mean, I tagged you. So,
That's so annoying.
you can find me on Twitter. It's at the Paubago on Twitter. Again, it's Dota, it's tennis, or it's basketball season because it's
Yeah, if you're gonna tell him that Kawhi is gonna leave the Spurs, go ahead.
At this point, I'm fine. If he leaves the Spurs. Anyway, that's it for the Duel. Thank you sa 70 viewers
Thank
naming
you very much,
nanonood.
guys.
And also thank you if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook. We will see you guys next week for another edition of the Duel. Hopefully, we will be talking about something else other than Birmingham having a shitty format. We're going to see you next time.
Let's see if they redeem themselves.
Let's see if they redeem
Right.
themselves. We'll see you guys next time. May open mic po tayo ngayong gabi, 8 p.m. with Ariel. So if you wanna catch Ariel Garcia, stay tuned later at 8. Goodbye!
Bye.